start now.
Okay, good morning. This is Dwayne. Once again, I forgot to turn on the recorder. Today is the 6th day of May, 2013. It's now 9:24 a.m. Pacific time. Roll 'em.
Do you want to show the all the links and stuff that you were just talking about?
No, I'll do it again tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure we got it.
So those of you that weren't tuned in live and are watching this video after the fact, you missed really good stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now I am going to turn on my recording so I don't forget. All right. Dwayne's recording me recording. Here it comes. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 6th day of May, 2013. It's Monday. Yeah, we made money again. Let's bring over my spreadsheet and we'll talk about it. All right. The results in the live trading room, we had plus 1 tick on soybeans, minus 8 ticks on the Russell, plus 10 ticks on crude oil, plus 18 ticks on gold. All right. So far in the month, we're up a gross of $665 per contract. That's in 4 days, 4 business days. We got our 2 points this morning in 58 minutes, 7 trades, and we were at $100 when we got our 2 points. Total trades on the day, 13. You can see in here, as I said the other day, when the days that I might lose the first trade, we end up with more trades before we get to the 2 points. Like on Friday, for instance, I lost the first 3 out of the 4 first trades. I won the very first one, but then I lost 3 in a row right after that. So it took us a few more trades to get to our 2 points. But all in all, we're up $665 a contract. Gross, the net, $273 a contract after 4 days. So it's actually a little slower start than we normally have to the month, but you know what? It's a long month. There is a holiday in it, but nevertheless. Last month, I didn't show this. Last month we had a total of $5,392.50 per contract. That was gross. The net was $3,600.50 per contract. Okay, and last month started off kind of like this one, I think. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Let's see. We have. Oh, yeah. Geez, you guys didn't see my spreadsheet. I didn't even take the charts yet. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, it's good because I was just going to show you pictures. Hang on a second. I'll go over that again in just a second here, so you can see the spreadsheet. If I can bring it up. There it is. All right, so you guys should be seeing my charts now again. Boy, we are just bumbling around today. All right. Here we go. Let me just check the audience view here. All good. All right. All right, so everybody can see this, right? This is where we were. Plus 1 on soybeans, minus 8 on the Russell, plus 10 on crude, plus 18 on gold. 58 minutes, 7 trades to get our 2 points, 13 trades total. $665 gross so far this month in the 4 days. This was the total of last month, $5,392.50 per contract. This was the net last month, $3,600.50 net per contract. This is the net so far in the 4 days. All right. That is what I wanted to show you earlier. Let's see. My son's first communion this weekend. There he is. There's my boy. Flip through that really quick. There he is actually getting it. Way up there. And that's at his school. All right. Enough of that. Thanks, Josh. All right, let's get into the markets. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply, sign up for the free trial. If you do go and do that, in the free trial, you get 5 business days in our live trading room. You'll be sent an email with a link in it that has a video that slowly takes you through the steps to download the charting platform, to download the indicator set, to apply the indicators, and to get things all set up. If you are taking the free trial and you're not doing that, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You know, you should really take advantage of everything we have to offer. We have, what else was I going to say? I don't know, I don't remember. Anyway, let's get into the trades, okay? Let me start off with crude oil. On crude, where were we? We're plus 10 ticks on crude this morning. All right. Now my day involved a lot of break-even trades, unfortunately. Well, a fair amount of break-even trades. Okay. Our first trade on crude was just that. It was a break-even trade right in here. Right. We had the down close. I got short right over here. I had 4 ticks profit in the trade, so I moved my stop to break even, and it took me out. Then it went down to the profit target that I had suggested it should go down to. All right. Crude came up, started bouncing around a little bit over here. Once the black line got below the BBC, there was no trade over here, but there was actually, yeah, right in here, there was no trade in here. So I stopped looking at it, okay? I missed the trade right in here. I took this one, and I said it should get down to 95.04. Down here is where I was looking. And I ended up moving my stop to break even, and it came back out, took me out of break even, and moved down. I got into this one shortly after that and took 10 ticks out of that. That was where I made my 2 points on the day. The 10 ticks right here, 10.27, 10.28, something like that. Now, after that, there were trades in here that I just didn't take. I don't know why I didn't take them. I just wasn't looking at them, I guess. But price moved up here. It moved up here. There was a long trade in here, a long trade. Actually, right over here, there was nothing. But there was a long trade right in here. Nothing in here because the divergence was going the wrong way. Now in here again, this is after the morning session ended, but there were more trade opportunities in here. Right in here was a long trade. Right over here was another long trade. Right here was well, there was really no divergence to speak of there, so it would have been a little risky. That would have been a momentum trade in there. Changed directions over here, came back, tested the BBC. We had blue on the cycle. You needed down close below the trend line. You didn't get that until over here. So there's a short trade right here. And that brings us pretty much where we are. There was a long trade here that went a few ticks, and we got nothing. But we made 10 ticks, 10 ticks per contract on the crude oil today. Let me jump in here to the Russell. Okay. All right, thank you everyone for my son. I'll show you my daughter when I'm done with this, okay? I have 2 pictures of her from her first communion. They all seem to be in the same place because I downloaded them from my phone. This was our very first trade of the day right here. Our first trade of the day was a loss. We ended up minus 8 ticks on this trade right here on the Russell. And then I had pointed out that it looked like it was bottoming in here if the green line got down into the cycle without putting in a lower swing. This was bottoming action, and indeed it was. And then the Russell started moving up. But it was moving up in kind of a strange way, so that we didn't really get any trades in here. You know, there was one right here that we missed. Let's see, down close. There was one right in here that we missed. Now I'm feeling like there was something else going on at the time. I don't remember what. In here it was going down into the weekly trading zone. Last week's weekly trading zone from the ES, which held it all morning. So I wasn't going to short into that. You can see right in here, right at the end. Well, just recently, it had an opportunity right here. I'll draw the trend line for you. Trend line's going down. You have your bullish divergence here. You just need the up close, which is right there above that trend line. All right. Currently, it is testing the BBC, and that's our trend line. There's red on the cycle, so you need an up close above that trend line. All right. We were minus 8 ticks on the Russell this morning. Gold. We ended up doing okay on gold, but we had a lot of small trades, small wins on gold this morning. CMO. Bunch of small wins. And how many trades did I have? I think I had 8 trades on gold. All right. The first one, little gain right there. The second one, a little gain right there. The third one, a little gain right there. Fourth one, I think that was a break even. Then a little gain right there. Another break even. A little gain. A little gain. And a little bit bigger gain. And that was it. That's what got me to 18 ticks. Now, granted it took 8 trades, but 18 ticks is $180 a contract, and 8 trades is about $60 a contract in fees. So I'll take that any day of the week. All right. And let's see, where is it right now? Let's scroll all the way over here. We have bullish divergence. It was a long trade right in here a few minutes ago. Okay, right there. And I can tell that because you would have a trend line like this and bullish divergence with an up close above the trend line. All right, that is what you would have been looking for. There were some short trades in here, right over here. Actually, right here was the first one. Right here was the second one. Right here was the third one. Those were all shorting opportunities. If we drew a trend line up, the black line's up there, so there's nothing else up there. On the long side in here, right here, you could have gone long. Drawing your trend lines, no divergence. Right here, you could have gone long. Waiting for a higher swing up here, but it would have been total momentum because you ran out of divergence and you had no room to run. Alright, that was gold. The NQ, I'm only going to show you what we highlighted. We highlighted a few spots on the NQ this morning. This is one shorting opportunity, another shorting opportunity right here. I don't know if we did any more. No, there were trades there on the NQ. If you guys like to trade the NQ, there were plenty of trades there on the NQ. Well, not plenty. There were some trades. The NQ was really choppy this morning, and I wasn't really looking to trade the indexes because most of the time we're going to be looking for short trades. And with the ES going into the, it's not this week's zone, it was last week's zone, but it held all morning. It's been holding since Friday, so I wasn't going to push it into that. Okay. Let's see. On the ES, I didn't highlight any trades this morning. And on soybeans, we pointed out a few things on the beans. We took a long trade over here. Once we had 4 ticks profit in the trade, we moved our stop up to +1 tick, and we ended up taking that +1 tick out. Then I had said, if the green line gets up into the cycle without putting in a higher swing over here, this is topping action. And you can see that really was topping action in there. On the way down, the soybeans, let's see, did we have any opportunities in here? I guess we had one right here, one quick one there, one quick one in there. The ride down to that level that I have here. I don't know why I have these lines on here, but just gonna roll with it. There was one this morning that I missed right in here, where we had bearish divergence down here. We drew a trend line up with a close down below the trend line. I totally missed that one. That was about the equivalent of 4.5 ES points right there. If you would have gotten into that trade, about 4.5 ES points. Bullish cross in here, but we didn't have any pull away. All right. And that was pretty much it on the beans. Natural gas. I want to show you the natural gas because, well, it was the one thing when we first opened up this morning at 9:30 when we first got into the live trading room. I had said, well, natural gas is the only thing that's got a setup right here. But it didn't look like it was moving at all. So I went and looked at everything else again, and I kept looking over all the other things again and again and again. And it turns out natural gas had some nice trades while I was looking at all those other things. The entry would have been right here on this up close with the bullish divergence above the trend line. And there was another one right over here. Okay. It turned around. The MA1 got below the BBC, and we had bearish divergence, so there was some shorting opportunities in here. Right here was the first one. This down close right over here was another one. Alright, this down close right over here was another one. Alright, I didn't take any trades on the natural gas today. Now the euro had a few nice moves too. The euro started out just stuck to this weekly trading zone. But once it started to move, it gave this big move down with no indication, and then we finally had a shorting opportunity right in there to take on the euro. Okay. That's it. That's what we have. Oh, I said I was going to show one more picture of my other kid. Man, let me see if I even have it here. It's got to load. Yeah, there she is. That's my daughter. Yeah, her first communion. That's my son, opening gifts after his. All right. That's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up now. I think we have pretty much done it. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply. Sign up for the free trial. If you have taken a free trial with us, and you want to become a partner, just send us a quick email at support@cfrn.net and tell us you want to become a partner, and we'll send the information off to you as quickly as we can. That's it. That's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it. And if anybody has any questions, you all have my phone number. You can reach me at 94942E-MINI. The number 2, E-MINI. 94942E-MINI. Okay? If anybody has any questions, you can email us, support@cfrn.net, or you can call me at that number. All right? That's it.
Okay, very good,
There we go.
Michael.
Recording is off.
Give me that phone number again, because I want to say it a lot during the radio program because it sounds cool. Give it to me again. What is it?
Okay, 94942, the number 2, E-MINI. 94942 E-MINI. There you have it.
Yeah. I'm going to say it a different way because I think it's less confusing my way. But you can say it your way. I'm going to say 94942 E-MINI.
Okay.
Because I think that 2 part, people are going to go, is that T-O? Or is that T-O-O? Or is it T-W-O? Or is it the number 2? I think I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
Maybe. I can see why you would go down that road, but
94942 E-MINI. Let's light up those phone lines. All right. 94942 E-MINI. That's so cool. All right. Awesome. Okay, you covered how to take the free trial. You covered how to become a partner. I covered how to be a part of the morning devotional. Oh, by the way, guys, Paul has, we're doing a rotational thing. Paul has Tuesdays. He's going to do the devotion every Tuesday unless, you know, life happens and he has to be somewhere else. Frank's going to do Wednesdays, okay? And I'm going to keep one day for myself, and I don't care which day it is. So that means we have 2 days left. Now, if we have more than 2 people that want to do it, then we'll just rotate the whole thing. But initially, we're looking to fill 2 more slots. That would either be Monday or Thursday or Friday. I'll take whatever days left over. So if you think you would like to do that, and if you maybe you go, you know, I can't commit to the same day every week, but I would like to do it tomorrow or next Thursday, well, we can do that too. Just let me know. Send an email to support@cfrn.net. Okay? All right, I'll go ahead and pull back the charts. All right. Okay. And so on the S&P, we've got a swing high of 1614. So we're one tick off the all-time historic high put in back on Friday. Bruce says, I think you should just say the full number like normal people. Okay, thanks, Bruce. I agree. It is very aggravating when people give out the number like that on the radio. I mean, it sounds kind of cool, but then when you sit down to actually dial the number, you got to think way too much. Okay, E, where's the E? Okay, all right, now where's the M? Yeah, I'm with you, Bruce. So we'll say it both ways. Matter of fact, Michael, 94942 E-MINI. Now, just give me the actual number, please.
That would be 94942 36464.
That's too many letters. That I at the end, that's just make-believe.
E-MINI? Oh.
So it's 949-942-3646. Yeah, see that I on the end of E-MINI, that's just make-believe, because that's 11 digits.
Okay. See that? 949-942-3646. I have to write that down.
We're the only 2 people on planet Earth who could have so much fun with a phone number.
And you know, we text back and forth about these things.
Frank says, where does Bruce live? I'd like to meet those normal people. That's good. Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's move on off to Vegas. Oh, guys, we're giving away a trading computer, the CFRN Trade Master, the workhorse. It's a trading computer. It'll do everything you need. Dual monitor support coming out of the box. An i5 chip. We haven't set aside a specific day for the drawing. Probably it's going to be towards the end of the month, because we normally give away iPads, and then we went to iPad minis, and then we're giving away a couple a week. And, you know, I still have a goal of giving away 100 iPad minis this year, but I think we said that one trading computer would be equal to 3 iPad minis. So maybe we'll do it before the end of the month, but for sure by the end of the month. Okay? If you're a partner, you're already in the hopper. If you've ever taken the free trial, you're in the hopper. And if you take the free trial, you'll get in the hopper. Okay? Because we're going to draw a name, and somebody is going to win by the end of the month. If you've taken the free trial before, and for whatever reason you weren't able to show up, or you missed a couple days, you had to go to the dentist, or you just didn't take us seriously, but now you've gone out and shopped around the internet and realized that, maybe they do have something going on over there, then come on back, cloaked in humility, and go, hey guys, I messed up. I didn't pay attention. I'm sorry. We'll give you a second chance. We are the people of the second chance, all right? So come on over, send an email, support@cfrn.net, put second chance in the subject line, and then just sign it, cloaked in humility. We'll know who you are, and we'll authorize a second chance just for you. All right, with all that business out of the way, we're going to go out to Las Vegas, Nevada, talk to David Williams from PageTrader.com and Miss Robin Dane, the trading coach. Don't touch your radio dial. We'll be right back.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310.
Good morning, Dwayne.
David, good morning to you. Welcome to the show. And I'm continuing to just say stuff and keep a running patter until I can unmute Robin's mic. Oh, good morning, Robin.
She is. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great day in Las Vegas.
Yes, it is.
I love when you do that.
I do too. I do too.
And Michael, what a wonderful, wonderful picture of your son. Oh, isn't that fabulous? What a wonderful weekend you must have had.
Yeah. 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 Wonderful. That's how I would. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a success.
Terrific. He looks great. He looks great.
That picture
And
of
you
your
had
daughter, that was particularly well done. Did they take that at church or at school or?
No, we had it done at a place in North Attleboro, actually.
Okay. Yeah. And so you've already had, you said the other day that you've had your last father-daughter dance. How come they stopped so early? I mean, she's only 10, right? She's Gabe's age?
Yeah. After 5th grade, they have to earn work hour credits, and so after 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, they have to actually help at the dance.
Oh,
they have to earn
okay.
credits by helping at the dance.
Gotcha.
Changes it all out.
Do you guys do the purity ring thing? Is that something you do?
No.
Are you familiar with that at all?
Well, I'm familiar with it. You know, the school itself, they have different views on different things.
Okay.
But no.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that we do, or I don't even know who we is at the moment as I'm speaking, but I mean, I've heard of it, I'm familiar with the concept, and yeah, I would like, I don't know. Robin, are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
It's a girl, young girls, they make a pledge to their father. Their father gives them a ring. I think this is how it goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. The father gives them a ring, and the young girl makes a pledge that she's going to keep herself chaste until marriage. Is that kind of in a nutshell?
That's about it.
Yeah.
Pure until marriage.
Oh, whenever is that new? I don't remember that when I was growing up.
I think it is. No, I think it is relatively new.
Yeah, I think my dad had just a hard time just finding me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we grew up
well,
a different we grew up in a different generation, but we're a little
Yeah.
more educated now. And
well, I tell you, we were very much on both my parents worked. I didn't have babysitters. I didn't have my brother was 6 years older. He was my babysitter, but we didn't have somebody coming to the house and watching over us. We had to take care of ourselves till our parents got home because they both worked. So and we had to work. We had things we had to do around the house before they got back. And when they came home at 5 or 6 o'clock, we were just there. We didn't have it's so different today. It's just so incredibly different.
It is.
Yeah, all of that against the backdrop of 15-year-olds being able to get birth control now without a prescription.
It's totally, totally changed. I don't know how
that right there is a very worrisome thing.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, without parental permission, that really crosses a line. That is the government stepping into your home and telling you that you don't know how to properly raise your child. So we're going to step in and we're going to take control of this thing because we know what's best for your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That's just, I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Expect more of the same.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, yeah.
Expect more of the same. Yeah, it is a shock because you would have never in our generation thought that something like that would even come around. The parents really did play an important part. Right now, the nanny state, the government knows better than everybody. They know what your health care is supposed to be. They know where and when your kids should and should not be able to, have sex. What doesn't? It's an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful government. Whatever happened to independence and freedom from government and so on, it's appalling. It really is.
Well, the information that these kids get, they get it so quickly. We didn't get it that way. It took us forever to get information. So just the information overload that they're on it's overwhelming for them. I think it's tough for them. I know that you guys that have kids, you are challenged in this day and age for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only shelter them so much, and they're going to get exposed to stuff. Even if you send them to private school, even if you do, they're still. And like my son, he comes home sometimes and he says, "Hey, Dad, what does this mean?" And I'll go, "Well, what do you think it means?" And then he'll get all red in the face, and he'll go, "Well, Dad, I don't know. I think it means." And I'm like, "Well, okay, so how does that make?" I just try to talk him through it, just help him to understand it. And I want to freak out. I want to go over and find the kid that was talking like that in front of him, snatch him up, and then go to his house and snatch his dad up. But I might get snatched up, so it's better that I not, do that. So you just got to try to be open and transparent. And, go ahead.
Knowledge is power. So you definitely want to tell them, you want to prepare them, and if they're prepared, they're in a better place than not knowing. So,
I got to tell you, Bill S., you just put this thing more succinctly than Bill says, you need to call the parents to give them an aspirin for a headache, but a 15-year-old can get birth control.
That's right.
That's a true statement right there.
That's exactly right. That's the contradiction that the government and the far left doesn't see. It's filled with contradictions. Yep. So we've been down that road. We don't have to go there today, but It's just another example of the people that are supposedly, all for people are doing things that just could potentially wreck people's lives.
Yeah, I see now where Ed had typed in the same thing. Yeah, you guys really, you hit the nail right on the head there. Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Well, we have a very smart audience.
We do. We do.
We have a very, very, very astute and smart audience.
They're even taller than average. They are.
I mean, they've got everything going.
Good looks,
Anyway.
high IQs, perfect posture. The list is endless.
They're looking good.
So did either one of you guys do anything unusual, exciting, or fun over the weekend?
Robin, you go first.
Oh, I just did work. I just worked around the house and got some things done that I needed to get done. So no, nothing big and exciting. There was a search this weekend. I didn't go out on it, but there was a search this weekend. And actually it was for a little boy, and they found him very quickly, so that was good. So I did hear the news of what happened, but I was not there.
Dwayne, for me, I spent a enjoyable, quiet weekend, got some other things done, and was anxious really to get back to the markets this week. Today, surprisingly quiet everywhere, given what we had last week, but the week is just beginning, so I'm not overly concerned about it. But we really do, across a wide range of markets, have pretty quiet markets today. I'll probably pick up as the week goes on. But often, over a weekend, you get that the big influx of people. Everyone's back. The news came out. All kinds of things happened over the weekend. But in spite of that, and we've had a pretty quiet Monday here in a pretty wide range of markets. The S&P, of course, is quiet as well, but we're still very firm up here at these levels. So.
Well, we had that huge, let me get rid of this volume on the chart because I don't think we need that, but we had that huge day on Friday, big up day, and often after a big up day, you'll get a day of some consolidation, maybe an inside day. The fact that Friday was not only a kind of a big day, but all-time historic highs, I mean, this is just a critical area on many different levels, no matter how you trade or what methodology you use or indicators or however you look at it. One thing that touches every trader everywhere is that the S&P 500 is at all-time historic highs, and that's not even open for interpretation. That's just a fact. Now, you can go beyond that. You can interpret it 9 ways to Sunday, but the fact is that we're at an all-time historic high, and the question, of course, that begs to be asked is, okay, now what? Do we break out and run? Do we get slapped down? Do we churn sideways for a while? I don't have the answer. I'll just approach each day as it presents itself, each day, each week, and go from there. David, I know that you are still of the mind that we're in a runaway bull market. That hasn't changed, correct?
I do believe that's the case, yes. I do believe we're going higher. I believe that, as a matter of fact, we haven't given the target out, publicly except to our subscribers, but we do believe substantially higher prices are coming. So that's our take on it. Now, that's not independently by itself. That's not absolutely tradable. A person could just say, "Hey, great, I'll go long." But there's probably wiser ways of putting the trade together. Some of our people are in a trade from the breakout that happened last week on Friday from the 94 and 96 level to our first target, which we're now trading at right now, which is the 1612, 1613. But I don't think the market is intending, Dwayne, to, and anything can happen, but I don't think the market's intending on doing a one-day breakout to new highs. And actually, a distinction that you made, or maybe didn't make, but it's one that I make in my mind, is that this is very different than the market spiking above an old high and, maybe getting up just a few ticks above, and then they say, hey, the S&P touched an all-time new high. This is a definitive breakout above and a close above, well above all the previous levels. And I don't interpret that as being a one-day only event. There may be a little more consolidation and so on. And I think it's true that after a big day like that, you would see consolidation. Not necessarily this quiet of a session, but it happens in so many different ways. It's a real thing. You know, the markets are real. That's the beautiful thing. They're just as big as life, and they're just as small as life. They just move according to, without any real constraints or restrictions with regard to this. All of it is cyclical. All of it is repeatable. But, you know, in the moment, we have a very quiet day-to-day. But we believe, yeah, Dwayne, we believe the market is going to go substantially higher here. And, you know, we're waiting for those prices to happen. And we're trading on the overnight. So, you know, but we use protective stops to make sure that if something that we weren't expecting happens, that we can be protected from further loss. So at some point you have to take a risk in order to participate in this. But, you know, everybody does. I used to say this on the program a lot. Everything you want to be as a trader, you're already doing in some other area of your life.
Right.
Every skill that you need, you know what I'm saying, the skill of managing risk or the skill of being able to, you know, if you think about it, you do these things in other areas of your life. We give a long time ago the car analogy where you're managing high risk in an automobile, and you drive and you manage your risk and your family's in the car, and everything is just perfect because you know how to drive. You're doing all those things in some other area. You just have to learn how to do those things in trading. The reason I think it's a good point is so that you don't feel like trading is such a far away, distant thing that you just can't grasp, when the fact is that you're doing these very things in other areas of your life already, and have been, depending on how old you are, for a gosh darn same thing, seeing, hey, yeah, I do those things in another area. It's something you can do because I think it's a very important point, because out of reach.
A little bit on that.
Hey, you're never get there.
Was Dwayne or was I breaking?
Yeah, Dwayne.
Here.
Actually, I heard a word you're saying.
You're breaking. You're
Not even a single word.
While he's doing that, yeah, he's having some kind of.
No, I'm trying to
Okay,
figure
I'll
out.
take the charts.
I'm trying to figure out where the. I'm trying to
there
figure out where the hitch and the glitch is.
You're
Let
okay
me try
now.
to answer this
No.
inbound Skype. Hang on.
Okay.
Hello,
All
Agnes.
you need is within you now.
Dwayne's working on.
Good. I'm going to trip up the picture. Anyway, don't let me lose you. Okay.
Interpretation, if you'd
I'm still here. Wait, there's Dwayne.
This is why he's breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, his computer.
Chris, are you still there?
Sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. We had some problem with the Skype video, but I think audio. Michael, give me a sound check on the audio now. Michael.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Can you hear Chris?
Dwayne.
Here, Chris.
Hey, Chris, just go ahead and yourself and.
We're working up again.
Yeah, you know what? I'm turning the video off and just going to audio. I think that'll help with the connection. So
Okay. Well,
now
we
I can hear you
now.
crystal clear. Can you guys hear?
Now,
Well,
yes.
we can hear you now, but
Just you, not Pastor
Okay.
Chris.
Yeah, it's the video and with all the recording stuff and the webinar. So anyway, I have on the line from Kampala and his wife, the lovely Agnes. I've known these guys since 1990. I first met Chris, and it's when the idea was born to build the orphanage, and we started out very humbly with just a small house, no orphans, no electricity, no running water, and God's really done some incredible things. So if you guys take a couple minutes and share with the listeners, because I haven't had you on the program in years, just give us 5-10 minutes of how we got to where we are now and what's going on.
Okay. Dwayne, we've never been able to hear him. Well, maybe he's recording this.
well, while we're waiting, does Wayne know that we can't hear him?
No, I
Apparently
don't know
not.
to text him.
Maybe he'll only understand if we have a sound similar to his. So let me do that for you. We're having a little problem listening to you. Please get back to us.
How did you do that?
That's my underwater
That's
imitation.
pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Barry.
Sound like Nemo. Nemo, Finding
That is
Nemo.
Well, after years of practice,
Finding
there are
David's
some skills.
Nemo.
I haven't revealed all the skills I
Hey,
have
Chris.
on live radio.
There you go.
All right, there you go.
All right,
Chris,
Dwayne,
we're
you're back.
having a problem with the audio and the video, so we're going to have to try this another day, okay? All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not coming through, so figure out a different way to do it, okay? All right. All right, brother. Sorry about that. All right, there was our first test with the Skype, and as I thought, we would probably have some issues, and in fact, we did have some issues. So we'll figure out we'll route it through a different computer the next time, and we'll just move on with today's programming.
Okay.
But I
All
do
right.
appreciate you guys making fun of me in the background there, though. I could hear that perfectly clear.
Hey, now.
It was
God
David.
bless you.
It was David.
I know
I
it
was only demonstrating my, one of the skills that I have, which is to speak from underwater.
Yeah, that's great. You'll go forward with that. Okay.
We couldn't hear you at all, though. at
No,
that
I
point.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. All right, well, we'll try it again a different way someday.
So he is in, where is he?
Kampala, Uganda,
Kampala?
East Africa.
Okay, so he does have obviously he has an adequate internet connection there,
Yeah.
because he
Yeah,
was
we
able
do.
to get up and, yeah, a lot of times my belief is that might be an overloaded computer more than anything else. That the process, if you were looking at your task manager, I bet you anything the thing was just
Yeah, it's spiking.
spiked all
Oh,
the
it
way
is,
to the top.
because that particular computer is running GoToWebinar, it's running
Yeah, it's got all
video
this-
and audio
yeah.
recording software, and it's attempting, on top of all that, to run Skype. So I'm going to have to split the workload up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get it. We'll get it done.
Well, good.
I just hate leaving him hanging like that, but I just told him, I said, we can't today, and so I'll have him back on. If need be, we'll just do an audio call, and because he needs to come on and share, because we have some really good news. The equity partners the CFRN equity partners this is a momentous day in our plans as a group, and I'm going to wait until Chris is on to make that announcement, but it's good news, guys. You guys did good. I'm so proud of you, and we're moving forward according to plan, and later this week we'll get the whole story out there. All right? So, guys want to go to the markets? But anyway,
Sure.
no, in answer to your question, he is in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, and internet connections there. Internet cafes are still really big. Most people cannot afford a computer or to have internet in their home. Internet in their home is a bit spendy, much like here in the U.S., $50 to $75. You can get wireless internet if you have a laptop or if you have an iPad. You can get pay-as-you-go internet access. My friend Coney, he and his wife, since he retired, they have moved there and now live there full time. They're raising 18 kids in their home, they're across the border in Kenya, in Kitale. They have really good internet connection via their iPad, and you get it on a little card and you punch in the number, and that method is actually pretty affordable. But when you try to hardwire it into your house, that gets expensive. Computers themselves are expensive. Over there, most people are using a computer that they're like second, third generation. Probably, their computers were built in 2005, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
People have donated them, or they just get, handed down and passed down and that kind of thing. But people go to the internet cafes. They're able to stay in touch with people here in the United States, people they're involved in ministry with. And then as their ministry grows and builds, then we get, laptops and we get iPads and that kind of thing, and we get wireless internet. And so it's been, again, we started out with 11 orphans in a home with no water, no electricity, and a lot of hope. The name of the orphanage is New Hope. It was on a wing and a prayer. And the takeaway from the whole story, not only all the kids' lives, but the takeaway is that we had no idea what we were doing. We had not been to school. We were not educated in social services, and we did not have the funding of some large ministry. We simply had a call on our life to do something, and not knowing any better, we just stepped out and did it. And so we went over the course of the past decade. We've gone from those 11 orphans who now are grown and have kids of their own. Went from those 11 orphans in a house with no water, no electricity, to at our peak we had 900 kids. We've scaled it back because it got too big to manage. We're running about 600 now, but we've built a high school, and we started with a 5-acre parcel, and we kept buying the surrounding land. We're up to 25 acres now. We brought in electricity. We brought in water. We dug wells. And here's a tip for anybody that wants to get into this type of ministry. You buy your land first before you bring in the infrastructure. We had bought about 15 acres when we spent the money to bring electricity in. Well, guess what? The price of the final 10 acres that we bought to round us out to the 25 acres, those 10 acres cost us about 3 times as much as the other land because it had electricity. And so, yeah, you do your land purchase first before you dig a well, before you put up a building, because you'll price yourself right out of the market. And that's kind of, well, that's why we're capped at 25, because the land, we've made the land too valuable, and that's a good thing. So it benefits all the people around us. They have access to electricity now. They have access to clean drinking water. So yeah, it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. 13 years now since we first broke ground, and lives getting touched and changed every day. We now have a babies home because babies there get abandoned left and right. I mean, it's not just kids whose parents die of AIDS, but parents, women who have kids and know that they can't raise them, can't feed them, can't care for them. They take them to the police station, the hospital. That's the good mothers. They take them to the hospital or the police station and just leave them. The not so good ones, they just often leave them beside the road. And so now we have a home specifically to care for those kids. And then once they get to be somewhere between 3 and 5, we'll bring them over to the orphanage. But we've started an adoption program working with some attorneys there and the Ugandan government and some attorneys here in the U.S. We have a number of successful adoptions under our belt at this point, and that's really what we hope to do going forward. We'd much rather send these kids into a family than into an institutional type setting, which is the orphanage. But I mean, the institutional setting, the orphanage, is far better than, you know, the other alternatives. So anyway, that was in me, and I had to get it out because Chris and I had planned to have the talk with you guys, and we'll have him back later this week, and he can tell his side of the story. So
that's fabulous, Dwayne. Congratulations.
God is good, you know, and he can use the biggest knucklehead in the world. If you don't have the education, you don't have the money, don't let that hold you back. I didn't.
Yep, and you made it work.
God made it work through me.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah, but he had you as the help.
Yeah,
that's
I just had to agree and then get out of his way. That's how I see it. Okay. All right, guys, you want to go to the SP, Dave? Or do you guys got any questions?
Are you talking about listeners or anybody?
Anybody at all. If you got any questions, guys, just put them into the chat box. Frank asked, how much for a computer with 32 or 64 gigs of RAM? You wouldn't want that. A computer won't take that much RAM. It couldn't recognize it. 8 gigs is about, Frank, as much as you would put in a computer. There's probably somebody that'll sell you a computer with more than 8 gigs of RAM, but beyond 8, it tends to get into overkill. So that's just a kind of a basic computer question. So, okay, let's see, is there any other questions? All right, let's go to the market. We've got the S&P 500 up here. It's the hourly chart. We came within 1 tick of the high that we put in on Friday. Today's high 1614. Friday's high 1614 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Take it away, Dave.
Okay. I don't have a lot to add to everything that we've talked about in the past. I'll quickly repeat it. We believe it's a runaway bull market. It will be until it isn't. We don't think the breakout is a one-day wonder. We think that there is likely more price appreciation coming up. Be careful on the short side other than intraday. We like the idea of long positions. Overnight is fine. But on the short side, I think you would be wise, and we've talked about this for months, to not do overnight short positions exactly because of what happened on Friday. That type of move can, especially if you're not, especially if you're not using stops. You're just committing crimes against yourself at that point by not using a stop and shorting the market. A runaway bull market on the overnight. You're just leaving yourself open for terrible results, which are worse than gambling. You gamblers get better results than that. You actually can end up getting worse than gambling results. So by doing that. So if you don't know what your edge is, I would suggest that you don't have an edge. You have to know what it is and utilize that edge. I think at this point, one of the edges that is a general idea is that this is a runaway bull market. It's been proven to be for several months since we've been talking about it. The market has continued to confirm that outlook is what I mean. And I think we're going to end up seeing substantially higher prices. We originally had forecast a breakout from 94 up to this 13 and 14. They're testing this here, but this is really not the final top. I think it's, I'd be very comfortable having people be long with a stop, even if it was just a buy the silly thing type of trade. But I think there's better trades than that here. On Friday, we had forecast that the market would move down from the initial high that it made at 1613 or 1614 and a quarter, and that it would go down to 08, and that itself would be buying territory. Anybody who took that advice is in a position long from 08, but this is not just for a day trade. This is really, that was a place to get long for a full-on test, potentially, of much, much higher prices. We did go a little bit lower on the Globex. We got down to 07 and a quarter. No big deal, though. And, of course, no matter what the information is, no matter where you get it, you want to use a protective stop. So don't ever let anybody talk you out of that, no matter how confident they are in what's going to happen. And the purpose of a protective stop, obviously, is to stop you out. But the placement of the protective stop is also very important so that you don't get stopped out arbitrarily when the market is just needing a little room to move around and so on. You want to find a spot that the market should not go to in order to place your stop there. And you might say, well, that's too much of a risk. Well, but that's what is required sometimes. Sometimes you're required. Otherwise, if you just place an arbitrary stop, you'll find that you tend to get stopped out is just as much as you tend to sometimes get it right. It's better to place your stop if you're trading overnight. This is longer-term stuff. This is not necessarily intraday. But place your stop in a position where it should not get touched. And then move it up as the market continues to confirm your position. So, yeah, we are looking for higher prices. We believe that's going to happen. Don't let today's very quiet behavior. Quiet isn't equivalent to weak. Weakness and quiet behavior is not the same thing. And many years ago, I used to think, for whatever reason, in my mind, that's kind of how it was. You know, if it's really quiet, they just can't run them. They're just not able to go. But quiet, as long as they're inside the trend, can be very, very potent. They're just accumulating energy for another run. So be sure that you don't mistake quiet behavior for bearishness when the quiet behavior is well inside an established uptrend. So that's everything that we have. By the way, I was going to mention also, if you want to get the information on the targets and whatnot on the upside, there's really only one, but it's quite distant on the upside. You're welcome to come to our institutional meetings, and you can give us a call, 888-231-4702. We'll take care of getting you into the meeting. You'll get some reports from us as well, and that'll give you an idea on many of these markets where we think they're going and so on. And our particular methodology for putting all this stuff together is probably different than what you're using, but every methodology has its advantages, and if what we give you tends to align with something that you're already using, that is a good thing. That's a good thing. It's not that they're competing. It's actually a good thing. It's a worthwhile thing to have two different methodologies indicating either the same forecast or perhaps close to the same, something like that. So don't let that worry you. That's actually a very good thing. Okay, so if you want, we'll move on. Dwayne, did you have anything more on S&P?
Karen had a question for you. David, when you talk about weekly tops and monthly tops, are those trades for several weeks, long-term trades, question mark?
When we do in our institutional meeting, a lot of these guys are trading multi-day, multi-week, and even multi-month positions. So yeah, they do mean that. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both kind of trading. One of the things on the longer term that you have to actually do it to see it, but in the end, in the longer term can produce really, really sizable gains, but you have to be able to hold on to a position, have a target that has reality attached to it, that it's something that the market should do under a set of conditions, and so on. Because otherwise, if you don't, as time passes, you know how fast doubt creeps in to a trader's mind. I think you could make the argument that from the moment a person puts a trade on, doubt begins to creep in right then and there. Have you ever seen the commercial where they show if your teeth aren't getting whiter, they're getting yellower? Have you seen the new one? It's a commercial out there for teeth whitening. Anyway, so they say if your teeth aren't getting whiter, they're getting yellower. Well, that's how a trader sometimes is. If the trade isn't going exactly moment by moment to their number, doubt starts creeping in, and that doubt on an intraday basis, you also have it on a day-to-day and week-to-week and so on. So you have to have realistic targets that the market is going to run to, and you have to know what would make you wrong. But yes, the answer is we do talk about and we are trading off of, and I'm going to mention a few of them in our little go-around here because there are some longer-term setups that we're trading for these distant or realistic but yet distant targets. With regard to the S&P, one last time, the term runaway is maybe a little bit of a misnomer because the market really is doing what it technically needs to do, but it's gone well beyond, way beyond, completely beyond what most technicians would say it should have been able to do. And so it's in a runaway bull market. It's kind of almost a slang phrase for basically saying this is going a lot farther than most people think. And that's what we've been saying for months. It's now broken out to new highs, and we believe that the really smart trades, if you're trading overnight, intraday is fine, short side, but overnight I think you'd be wise. It's very easy to get caught with a big gap opening if you're short, and then you have to, it's testing your Achilles heel. And you don't want to put yourself in positions where your Achilles heel is constantly tested. So anyway. You know why they call it the Achilles heel? There's a whole story to that. Achilles is a Greek thing and all that.
No, he's a guy. Achilles was a guy.
Achilles, but isn't it a Greek story where that's where they call it that, your Achilles heel. It's named after him. It's
right,
a weak
and
spot.
he was being because he was being dipped in some kind of secret sauce to protect him, and whoever was dipping him held him by his ankle to dip him in the secret sauce, and the only part of his body that wasn't protected then was the heel, and I don't know, that's a very loose interpretation of how that story really goes, but
no, that's good enough though. That is good enough. I think I had that guy serve me food once at a 31 Flavors. He didn't quite give me the full dip because I asked for the chocolate.
Being held by the hand of Hera, wife of Zeus, in the Hold River and the Holy River Styx. Styx, which was also a band. Styx.
Styx.
Remember Styx?
I do remember them. Yep, I do remember them.
STYXX.
Exactly. I do remember them.
So being held by the hand of Hera, the wife of Zeus, and dipped in the river Styx. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
Now, David just talked about gap open, guys. This is a day session chart. This is the gap open, and this was in that video that I posted last night, so you can go and I talk about this in depth. This is where we gapped open on Friday, and as you see, we've gone sideways. We put in lower highs on Friday. Now we're still putting in lower highs. The high today, 1614, just one tick off of that. But our sentiment is still bullish. So until that changes, any longer-term trade will be to the upside. But this is what a gap looks like. You don't see that on my charts very often because all of my charts are Globex 24 hours with the exception of this 7-minute day chart, which shows the CFRN sentiment indicator. Okay? And there's a video out on the site about the sentiment indicator and some basic ideas on how to use it. You could have been short this day and then long and a continued long, and that will continue. It'll be very obvious when the current shifts, and we're going to head down. So we'll talk about that as it happens. You want to go to gold, David?
Sure. Sure. Just one last quick thing I was going to mention. In agreement with that, we are long in this, and we are going to, obviously, we have stops, we have everything in place, but even though our expectation is for higher prices, we're not going to let them do something that, and then stop and say to ourselves, well, they're just faking out. They're really going to turn around and go up. No, we're going to take it seriously, but we've placed a stop in such a way that the likelihood of that happening is not good if the market really intends on going higher. And that's the whole name of the game, is one of the whole names of the game is to find a good spot to place your stop. It may require you to take a little more risk than you ordinarily would take, but it also depends on the time frame that you're trading on. If you're trading overnight, you're going to take more risk than the guy that's trading intraday. There's no doubt about it. You also have the possibility of larger gains as well, but you have to work all that out and see if that works for you. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's flip around to a few.
1611, guys. That was the price that triggered us on the long side. It's in the video from last night. So if you get a chance, go watch that. There's some good stuff in there. All right, this natural gas. I know we're not on natural gas yet, but before I change my chart, we talked on Friday about a setup for a natural gas trade, and we talked about where we would potentially consider being long, and it would be above 14,059 roughly, but we said we had to give that thing some room on the upside to get triggered in, and this is where our stop would be. Interestingly, since we had that discussion on Friday, natural gas has just kind of rolled sideways. It's coiling. It's going to make the move, but before I take these lines off, I just wanted to let you guys know that trade is, everything we said about that trade on Friday is still valid. Just hasn't happened yet. So,
yep.
All right, let's go to gold.
Yeah, nothing to add to gold. We do have a trade set up in progress on gold, and if you'll, this one is, since it is a subscriber-based one, we're going to wait on giving this out. But the bottom line is I think for people is that gold is obviously in an uptrend. They right now on a shorter-term basis off of the April 16th bottom, and they're also in a minor downtrend off of the reflected wave April 26th top. And having completed the 1440 downside target and having reversed off that, the downside target of 1440, they're above that now. That leaves gold, roughly speaking, in a kind of a neutral position. We tend to think higher prices are coming here short-term in gold, actually into tomorrow, or early this week, let's put it that way. So we're looking and watching this. We do have numbers on the upside. We'll save those. Again, if you want to come, you can give us a call. We'll give all the numbers and all the things out to you with regard to gold on the upside or downside, whichever one we happen to have going at the time. But I think my outlook for gold right now is that with gold staying above some of the more important levels, one of them is the 1440 level, which is way below us right now, and a more nearby 1464, maybe to 1460. That keeps the market in a pretty strong position. and we tend to think that higher prices are going to come, even though it's very, very quiet. Don't let that fool you, but it is very, very quiet. Let's go over the bonds real quick. Our longer-term forecast for bonds was for a move up from 142 in February up to 149. They completed the 149 level. That's a big move. That's a 5-6 handle move, and they're reversing off that now, and we are watching the market for an important place to buy it. We do have some orders out there right now, but I think the listeners could look for, remember we've talked about the importance of May 6th on a bunch of markets, May 6th for the bonds as well. So keep an eye on this pullback because we think May 6th is going to be an important reversal date. I don't have a lot to add to the euro. The euro's real quiet here. We're going to wait and save any new indication for the euro for a little later. We had given to one of our institutional guys a target for crude on the upside, I can tell this to you now, of 97.28. Today they got up to 97.17, about 10 cents off of that. That level, 97.28, is probably going to continue to be resistance if it's tested for some time. But once they get above that, this is longer-term thinking, in terms of bigger, longer-term move. Once they get above that, we think there's a real likelihood we're going to see substantially higher prices. And we're all going to have to be driving electric cars because gasoline's going to go up to $6 in California. And California is a big place. And when 40 million people are paying $6 a gallon, they're not going to be happy about that. So we'll see how that plays out. But overall, generally...
You think gas is going to $6?
Dwayne, something made a big buzzing sound there. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Gas to $6.
I think what he's saying is...
I said, do you think gas is going to $6 a gallon?
Well, okay, thank you. There was a strange buzzing there.
Yeah, I walked away. I'm back.
Okay, if we get the upside movement, we think that May would normally be a bottom in oil, and we believe it came 1 month early in April. And that bottom would normally have a multi-month advance. So we're starting to show the signs of that bottom confirming, and this is just the start. I mean, this whole move up is just the start. So we think, yes, if the breakout continues, if the move continues as we're suggesting, then have you ever noticed how gasoline prices tend to go up much faster than they tend to go down when the crude oil market goes up? If we were to go up into the back over $100 again, you would see gas prices, especially in the summertime, take a very, very stout increase. And so, yeah, in California, not necessarily where you live, Wayne, but in California, where gas prices right now are near $5 right now. So I am thinking that. Why? Are you counter to that, or are you thinking that they will not be able to reach that, or do you have some outlook on it?
No, I don't have a prediction. The reason I ask is because Elon Musk he took some heat over an ad that he put out, and in his new revised ad, he says they use $4.99 per gallon.
Yes.
Even though in San Francisco, where gas, the highest in the country, is currently under $4. He had originally said that the Tesla unveiled on April 3rd, Elon Musk unveiled a revolutionary new financing offer that slashed monthly payments for its $70,000 electric luxury sports sedan from $1,100 to a low $500, but only if you used the accounting according to Elon. The money that you would save by not schlepping to the gas station and by gaining entrance to the carpool lane. And this also assumes that you make $140 an hour. Today, Elon came off the ledge and said a revamped lease deal would no longer include such non-financial calculations. We did our financing announcement about a month ago. We didn't get it quite right. We were looking at a lot of valid criticism from journalists and customers, and we have decided to take corrective action. Still, he couldn't resist adding, I do think people undervalue their time. That sort of time value element is very significant for doctors, lawyers, and consultants, and that's true. But to keep the monthly payments relatively low, and we use that phrase liberally, Tesla has sweetened the deal by extending loans up to 72 months from Wells Fargo and U.S. Bank. And Musk now personally guarantees, now this is interesting, guys, this is a personal guarantee from somebody that, you know, he's got a few bucks. Some of you would say, yeah, those are my bucks. No, he's got some of his own bucks too. He says that he personally guarantees that the trade-in value of the Model S after 3 years will exceed that of a comparable car from Audi, BMW, Jaguar, Lexus, or Mercedes. The previous offer only matched the residual value of a Mercedes S-Class sedan. So here's how the new math works. We'll opt for the $81,000 Model S with an 85 kilowatt-hour battery that gives you a U.S. government-rated change of 265 miles on a charge, since Musk said that's the version most customers are buying. At 2.99% interest and a 15% down payment, the monthly payments are $1,045. Now, Tesla still deducts the amount of money you'll save from not buying gas in the advertising, but the estimates are more conservative. Not too conservative, though. The company thinks gas will cost $4.90 a gallon over the next 3 years, even in San Francisco, where gas prices tend to be high. A gallon currently goes for under $4. So we'll play along, as there is a real monthly savings to be had from plugging in rather than gassing up. Tesla deducts $261 a month from your payment, assuming that you drive 15,000 miles a year, which I think is fair. Then Tesla deducts $91 a month, because that's the value it assigns to the guaranteed trade-in value of the Model S. In the previous ad, they had that value at only $8. That leaves an effective monthly payment. So in other words, even though you're writing a check to make your car payment for $1,045, by the time you factor in these other things, that leaves an effective monthly payment of $754 for the high-end Model S. And for someone who is in my opinion, in that earnings bracket, to spend $745 a month for your car, not that unheard of. I mean, I know guys years ago, back when I was managing sales forces, you know, I had guys working for me that had $600 a month car payments 5 years ago. So nonetheless, that's still a chunk of change, considering the average monthly mortgage payment in California last year was $1,445 according to LendingTree. As a cash purchase, this car is only available to the top 1% of households, according to Elon Musk. With financing, it becomes accessible to the top 10%. He did go on to say that the third generation car would be affordable for the Honda driving masses. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's how you justify driving a really nice car.
That's right. You can listen. You can justify it one way or the other. You're going to pay a lot of money to drive that car, but you do really stop paying for gasoline. And for people who are driving, especially trucks, you know, pickup trucks or big types of trucks that get effectively 12 to 13 miles per gallon, you're spending an awful lot. You're spending $400, $500 a month easily if you drive it all on gasoline. And so he's trying to factor that in. He did go overboard with the time thing. I will say this, having, you know, since I drive an electric car myself, a lowly electric car, the Chevrolet Volt, which I just absolutely adore, I will say this, that after the first initial thing of saying driving by gas stations, you go, hey, you know, I don't really have to go there. You know, that's kind of fun. You just drive right by. I don't have to pull in. I don't have to pull in. After a while, you just assume that you don't have to pull in. You completely forget about gas stations. It's like an eagle flying over, you know, scorched desert. You don't have to go there. You know, you don't have to land there. You don't have to pull in, even though it can be very convenient and all that to get in and out quickly. That's just one of those things that you don't have to do anymore. So it does add, of course, it adds some time. In California, they do give you the HOV sticker lane thing where you can drive in the fast lane and so on. And that is a big thing in California, which is, you know,
Oh, yeah.
rife with people. Beautiful place. One of the most expensive places to live in America is California. I mean by that, state sales tax, other taxes, food price, gasoline prices. And so, yeah, if crude rallies, I would not be surprised to see gas back up at $6 or approaching $6 a gallon. So we'll see what happens. But as it sits right now, and I appreciate you reading that whole thing about what he did there. He's a consummate salesman, and he wants to sell his car, and he's trying to make it sound and be as affordable as it can. In the end, you're going to pay about $1,000 a month, depending on how much you put down. One thing he does have, ultimately, you know, that's the payment, the check you're going to write, even though you're saving in other areas. But one of the things I was going to say, I just forgot, and that's what happens when you're 56. How you doing? Okay, let's move on to some further markets here. But keep your eye on crude, because there is something cooking on the upside, I think, potentially, and we'll talk more about it. I don't have anything to add about.
Are you in June or July on crude?
We're in, let me go back. I'm sorry. I think we're in July, but we're in June. I'm sorry, June crude.
Okay, that was a question that somebody had.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Is there any other? No, Kevin, I have not seen that movie yet, but I'll take a look at it. He says there's a movie about the Ghost Exchange. It's about high-frequency trading.
Oh, okay.
I'll check that out, Kevin.
Go ahead.
Can we do soda at some point, please?
We will. Sure. Well, actually, I promise you we'll get there shortly, because the markets are so quiet today. It really is pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
How quiet things are today.
The calm after the storm.
Bruce, I did not see the parody on Saturday Night Live about the Google Glass, but I've heard about it, and it's on my things to do today list. I will check it out. I hear it's pretty good. Did anybody else in here see Saturday Night Live Saturday night? Anybody?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go over to the dollar real quick. I don't have much to add on that either. The last reflected wave turning point in the dollar on the downside was on May 1st. That's the date it did turn. Anybody who's in a position that this has rallied up. We don't have anything new to add to it just now. We're going to stand aside on the dollar a little bit as well. If you want to learn more about reflected wave, which is our turning point methodology, how we call all these terms, you can go to masterforecastercourse.com and read a little bit about what it is and so on. One or two other markets are all that's left. Soybeans, you know, we're out of them right now. The last top we had reflected wave was for April 30th. We had a short position for a 40-cent decline. We got the 40 cents. That's a reasonable target in this market, and we're flat, waiting for the next signal in soybeans. The copper market, I've told you last week how many markets are turning on May 6th. Copper has a top due on May 6th, which is today, so keep an eye on copper as well. A lot of people don't trade in copper, but we think and many people do think it's a great market. It is. It's not really, it can be a day trading market. It certainly can, but it also has really big, grand, sweeping moves that you can, potentially, why stop yourself out with a small gain when this market can really make big moves. We also, aside from that daily top, also have forecast, and has the markets completed, the bottom due in the month of May. So May is the on-time month for a bottom, and we're currently putting in the May 6th top. So that's a daily top inside of a monthly bottom. And when you learn how to manipulate these different pieces of information, you can really put some fabulous trade setups together. And we teach that in our reflected wave course. Okay, let's move on from copper over to let me say, this one other market I thought was really good. Natural gas. We're keeping an eye on natural gas because normally natural gas would have a bottom also on May 3rd, plus or minus a day. Today is May 6th, one trading day later. We don't count the weekends in this, so...
What month are you in?
June.
June. Okay.
In natural gas. So we're going to keep an eye on this here because we do have a report out to our institutional guys about where and when to short natural gas under certain conditions here, and we'll have another report out later today about potentially where and when to go long as well, and where the market would be running to. So you're welcome to come and listen to that at our 3-time-a-week meetings. And I think, Dwayne, that is everything that we have right now. I was going to add something with the British pound, but no need to. One thing I will mention is that Apple continues to bounce. We had given a number that we felt was important on the downside that they should not be able to close below, which was $385. Apple got down to $385.10, and they've had a very powerful reversal. They're up almost $100 now off of that. They're up at $461. They've made a high of $462, $80 or so. We're still not going to do anything with Apple until a little bit later. We may have missed a very important bottom by them testing that, but originally we're going to stick with our original outlook, which was to wait until the next quarter before shorting Apple. So we'll see how that plays out. But we think that Apple is going to be a wonderful stock to sell options against on the downside. So in other words, put sales. And we've been doing this for a long time. We sell thousands of them a year. And there's no joke. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of puts that we sell a year. We sometimes may even sell 1,000 in a month. I don't know. I mean, we're in a lot of different stocks, and we're doing this in a lot of different places. We recently sold 70 in Intel alone recently when we talked about the Intel one. So we're very big into the option sales thing. This stock is going to be a very good stock, we think, for that type of deal. So keep an eye on it, and we'll show it in our statements when we do our next webinar, which, by the way, is tomorrow. If you want to come to our webinar, you're more than welcome to. All you have to do is go to pagetrader.com, click on the Traders blog, and our webinar for tomorrow will be there. You can come. You don't have to buy anything. You can just listen, and we'll tell you about how we put these trades together. We're also going to show, I don't want to give the numbers away now, but I want to show it tomorrow, our latest trading statement, which is now 2 years in the making, starting from April of April of 2011. Month by month, every single trade, win, lose, or draw shown, and it's selling options. And I think you'll be, well, I hope you'll be impressed by it. I also want to say there's no guarantee that what we do someone else could exactly duplicate, but that doesn't mean that someone couldn't do better than us as well. We're very risk averse in our trading, and if you're too risk averse, you tend to make a lot less money, but we sort of cover that by trading in a lot of things, a lot of stocks, and selling options in a lot of stocks. So we'll talk about that, and we use our turning point methodology, reflected wave, to put these setups and trades together. So we'll talk about that. Now, I know you want to get to your favorite stock, which is soda, and they certainly are doing very good today, and maybe you have a comment you'd like to make on soda. So go ahead.
Well, we're a couple days to the their announcement, the street saying that they're going to beat their estimates. So they just hit a new 52-week high.
They did. And
yes, and that was today at 56.62, over a million shares, 1.3. And again, the news looks really good that so Green Mountain and Soda are set to report on the 8th.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah,
we took out
I don't have any.
that little triple top by just a tad right there. Just barely.
Yep.
So this is really a critical day here. I mean, can it make a break and run, or does it get slapped back down? That's the question.
Well, I think, again, from the earnings coming out, it could be just before the earnings. It's going to be interesting just to watch before the earnings. Are they jumping the gun here and grabbing it before earnings, and then there'll be a dip at the earnings day? Who knows? Well, this is what we got to see. But
are you doing something with this?
Watching it. I'm not in it, but I'm watching it.
If you go out to a weekly chart, that gives you a little different perspective because you can see
Yeah.
on the daily, all we could see was just this little triple top kind of here. But looking from a weekly perspective, there's certainly some room to run on the upside.
Yeah.
We're at 56.85, and they got a little double top over here up around 80. So yeah, let's see. This company will find its true valuation here at some point. There was a question for you, David, on, oh, guys, here's the, David was talking about his webinar. I'm going to put the link into the chat room for you.
Thank you.
That one
Appreciate
is
that.
tomorrow the 7th.
Yeah, and that, by the way, the time is at 1:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Chicago time.
Okay, guys, that's in the chat box for you. Here's the trailer of that movie, The Ghost Exchange. We won't watch it right now, but if you just Google Ghost Exchange, I'm going to watch. In fact, I'll probably play the trailer once we get, right as we get ready to end the radio show. So that takes care of that. The question for you, David, was from Ed the Trader. Pound want to hear. Why doesn't David want to mention?
Oh, well, that's very nice.
On the yen.
Okay. Well, let's first talk about the pound. A few weeks back, we talked actually as the market back in April on the daily chart. I'm sorry. We were talking in April that the market would tend to go up and test 155.75 or so. I don't have the exact number, but they did get up there. They had a nice rally. This is very important now, what the pound has done in our work, because we have obviously we have a couple different ways of thinking about markets, and not every setup applies to a technique that we have. You know, we've described it as a tool belt in the past, that you have a tool belt, and not every time that the market sets something up, you know, your screwdriver doesn't necessarily work on that particular setup. But this other tool, this wrench, works perfectly on this type of setup. Well, here's my point. By them completing the advance that was normal for them, which would have them run up to the 155.70 plus range. You have to go back on the recordings to hear what the exact number is, but it's right in that, within 10 ticks or something of that. By them having completed that, and you'll notice they've not been able to close above that. Let's just call the number, you know, 155.75. If I'm calling that right, am I reading that right, or is it 15.57? I'm sorry.
The current price on the pound.
Yeah.
155.48. It looks like.
Okay. So it's 155.75 is the number that we're talking about. Notice
so
that
in other words, to get 1 pound, you need $1. You need $1.55. You need $1.56 to buy 1 pound.
To get 1 pound. That's right. Yeah. Because it's telling you the difference right in its own number. So the level of 155.75. Notice that since they reached it, they actually reached it on April 30th, and then they tested it several times. And I believe that because the market's been unable to close above that level, it leaves the market temporarily in a weaker position. And I want to give you a range of prices right now. This is for the fellow who asked, that I consider to be part of the cycle that would block the market from higher prices. So that range runs from approximately 156.17 down to 155.75. Okay, so that range, they can get into that range and still be in selling territory. Now, as it stands right now, we've had 4 days of them trying to close above that level, and they have not. The reason we don't have a trade out on it right now is because we're going to wait. If they do sell off from here, then we're going to wait for a reflected wave bottom to be a buyer. As it sits right now, we're not heavy in the British pound, but I have been watching it, and it has worked. It has run beautifully according to the tools that we use. It's done nothing wrong. That's a good way of putting it. It's done nothing wrong. And so we'll continue to watch it, but I hope that helps in some way, because the pound is at a critical juncture short term on the upside here, having attempted to get through those levels. So I hope that's of some use.
Bob G has a question. When David says on-time top, is he referring to reflected wave or some other calculated top?
The majority of, it's a very good question, the majority, and by that I mean the vast majority, probably 98% of all the turning points I've ever given out on this radio program over the last now almost 8 years are all reflected wave. So the plus or minus 1 unit at a time is referencing reflected wave. We do sometimes have what we call roadmaps, and they have their own turning point dates, which either do or don't sometimes coincide with reflected wave. But they, too, are plus or minus 1 unit of time. I have not been able to get the accuracy better than plus or minus 1 unit of time. And I have some new ideas that I'm working on, to be honest now, about improving that, but it's very tradable as long as it's plus or minus 1 unit of time, and you can use multiple time frames and really get down to some very, really fine-tune that down. As everything you see us do on radio is reflected wave, and it is plus or minus 1 unit of time. Good example would be crude oil, where last month, the month of April, was the 1 month early for crude. The on-time month is May. Well, crude made a really big dive down and closed really well, left a really long tail, as you hear talked about on the radio program here. That type of behavior, along with 1 or 2 other factors, makes us believe that the low is in. And so we're already looking to utilize and take advantage of any buying opportunity that happens in crude as a pullback, because we believe the monthly bottom is in. And when we start using the buying, we're actually using plus or minus 1 day at that time, even though it's based off of a monthly chart. And then once the day is put in, sometimes we can buy an hourly inside of that, plus or minus 1 hour. So really, you can get all the way down from a monthly chart where you've got this huge period of time that you would say, well, gosh, I don't know where to take a trade. The market gives you a very powerful hint that now you can go to a smaller time frame and use the daily, and inside the daily you can very often find yourself an hourly, and essentially you can buy an hourly bottom with risk associated with an hourly chart, and in many cases be in a trade that intends to explode up off of a monthly bottom. So you're buying with 60-minute risk, and you're getting paid in monthly dollars, so to speak, and the fact that the monthly really wants to run. So that's one of the advantages of having the multiple time frame view of the market. Anybody can do it, but that's one of the advantages of putting the trade together that way, and that's what we do with reflected wave. So we're very risk averse. We want to make a gain, but we want to do it like Floyd Mayweather fights. We want to be able to get in and get out with something without having to get hit. And if any of you watched him this weekend, it was probably one of the most boring ways to watch a man earn $32 million. But while he was doing that, he was doing what he always does. I'm not a real fan of him personally, but his skill level really is so dramatically above the rest of the crowd that they don't know what to do with him in the ring, and that was a very, I have to say, relatively easy fight for him. But what you see him do is he hits somebody, and while he's doing that, he's already getting out of the way to not get hit. And that's how you want to learn how to trade. You want to trade as best as you can. Sometimes you're going to get hit. But that's essentially what he's doing in boxing is what we try to do in trading without all the big high-end cars and the big mansion. Little joke there, because he has a lot of high-end cars and a mansion.
That's pretty funny.
Okay. Anyway, so I think that probably covers everything that we've got for today, Dwayne, in the markets. And gosh darn, it is a quiet day. So as we're talking, the S&P is moving up higher. We do expect higher prices, like we talked about, and we're going to continue to hold on the overnight for those.
All righty.
I have some quotes for you,
Okie doke.
if I may.
Go right ahead.
Okay, we only think when we are confronted with a problem, John Dewey. Happiness is beneficial for the body, but it is grief that develops the power of the mind. Marcel Proust. Times of great calamity and confusion have been productive for the greatest minds. The purest ore is produced from the hottest furnace, and the brightest thunderbolt is elicited from the darkest room. Storms make the oak take deeper root. And last one is difficulty strengthen the mind as labor does the body.
There you are.
There you are.
I have a friend. I want to say something to that. I have a friend of mine who is a very sensitive, physically type of person. Doesn't like to be like many of us around cigarette smoke. Wants to eat the perfect food. Wants to almost like the boy in the bubble. Remember the movie The Boy in the Bubble? And so one day, because he talks a lot about the body and about, you know, proper eating and eat right for your blood type, and, you know, you can go into that so far that you just, you know, you're in a spinning gas nebula. Right. You can't find your way out. Anyway, I one day said to him, his name happens to be John, and I said, well, John, you know, if you protect yourself so much from everything that's bad, your immune system is not going to be ready for when something really does hit you. You have to exercise your immune system the same way that you exercise your muscles. Your muscles get stronger with exercise, and they can withstand pressure and force, and your immune system has to be exercised as well. So by protecting yourself, it's good to not put yourself in harm's way. But if you go to such an extent, you actually may not be exercising your immune system, and therefore leaving yourself more open to the very thing that you seem to be so afraid of.
No, that's very true.
It took him months to chew on that.
To grasp.
No. To chew on it so he could come back with an answer.
Oh,
And you know what his answer was? Because he doesn't like to be around any of those things. He doesn't like to be around people, doesn't like to be around, and so on. And so his answer was, just living day to day, wherever you are, is enough of a test of your immune system. And I'll leave it up to you, the listener, to decide whether that is the case or not. But a healthy immune system is the reason you're alive today. Other than that, you'd be dead. You can point to all the food and all the different things that maybe over time will do you damage, but without your immune system, even for a day, you would be deathly ill. Stuff would start to get onto you right away. So your immune system is a very obviously important thing to exercise. And so, as an example, the misery of getting a cold, going through situations you don't like, is a test. And you say, well, what if I fail the test? Well, maybe you get a cold or something, but that keeps your immune system tested and alive. So keep that in mind when you're just living day to day. You want to keep that thing exercised, and that means living an ordinary life. And most of us do anyway. Most of us do live. But in his case, he was so extreme that I felt the need to bring that to him. And it took him a long time to come back with that answer. And between you and I don't think that's the right answer. I don't think that just living and breathing in your bedroom is testing your immune system. I think you have to get out of it and throw some stuff at it.
Right.
So,
that's true. And every day those are changing. Every day that whole environment's changing, you have to adapt to it.
Yeah, I don't eat partially hydrogenated oil. Oh, okay, that's fantastic. Oh, I only eat brown rice rather than white. That's fantastic. I have news for you. If your immune system isn't working, you die today no matter what you eat. So that's part of your health is your immune system.
Yeah, for sure.
Food can kill you. The bad food can kill you, but it's going to take quite a while. Smoking can kill you, but it's going to take quite some time. Your immune system not being there can kill you in a couple days. Yeah. So keep it tuned up. How you do?
Well, I've been looking for an excuse to have a cigar, so I guess that's it.
That's a pretty good one right there. I am allowing you on radio to go have a good smoke.
Gosh, when I was a smoker, I admit I really did enjoy smoking, but I never liked cigars. That was just nasty.
What is the pleasure, though, Dwayne? What is the pleasure in smoking? I've never smoked and I've never understood it. Can you define it? Because I used to ask Jody, what do you get? And no one can actually tell me. It's one of the things. It's the most popular thing on earth, but no one can tell you what they're getting out of it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm sure that some writer, somebody famous has probably, I'll find a good description for you, but to put it into words, no. Because if anything that you say, if you hear yourself say it, it's just going to sound stupid. And so, because there's no good reason to smoke. Is there a satisfaction? Well, there is a satisfaction because you've created an addiction in your body, and so you're soothing the beast that rages within, and so it's crazy. So if you still smoke, I'm not downing you. I'm saying there's hope. You can quit. You got to really want to quit. See, I really wanted to quit, but I didn't think I could. I was convinced I couldn't, but I really wanted to, and so I said, well, okay, at least go through the steps. At least go through the steps of trying to quit so you can look your kids in the eye when they go, Daddy, please stop smoking. You can look them in the eye and go, I tried, but I couldn't. Well, I'll be doggone if I didn't try and I actually quit. So...
Yeah, it's not an easy habit to break for people, that's for sure.
It's
And
not.
I don't know how anybody affords it nowadays.
Oh my goodness!
I go in there and I get amazed. I go to a Walgreens to check out and see the stuff. They're $4 or $5 a pack. I say, how does anybody afford this?
Oh, that's the cheap stuff. A real pack of smokes is like $8. Marlboros,
Yikes.
you know, the good stuff.
It's like, holy mackerel.
Well, the new thing is the cigarettes that don't give you anything bad. They just give you the water vapor. But and I have several friends who have quit smoking, and they're still smoking those. And it's a pleasure to be around them.
You're still addicted to the nicotine, though. That's a nicotine delivery system.
It is. It is a nicotine delivery system, and you are addicted to nicotine, and they slowly edge you off of that as well, hopefully, over time.
If you want.
But some people, if you want.
Yeah, some people just want to keep smoking, but this allows them to smoke at their desk, you know?
Yeah.
Not get up and go out on smoke break. They can just sit at their desk and vapor up. So.
Yeah. Well.
All right, guys.
Be healthy.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. Thanks for having me on, Dwayne. Robin, nice to chat with you. I'll see you soon as well.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, and let's watch this market, see where it goes from here.
See you guys tomorrow.
Alrighty. I'll see you guys
I will
tomorrow.
see you on Wednesday.
Okay. Take care.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I didn't notice what time it was. All I know is that I fell in love with you. And if all my dreams come true, I'll be spending time with you. Every day's a new day in love with you. With each day comes...
What's this trailer? Probably not. There we go. See what run this video. Let's reload. You know, I've got. Tomorrow I'll do the recording on the computer down the hall. That will free this computer up for other tasks as well as the Skype. And I'll test the Skype off air before. See, guys, I mean, we're pushing the radio bandwidth, we're pushing to go to webinar bandwidth, and then we try to lay the Skype on top of that, plus all the other equipment that has to run to make this happen. Not to mention charts and all of that. I mean, this is spread out. The workload right now is spread out over 1, 2, 3 boxes. Oh, and a laptop. We're going to have to bring a 4th box online to make this work properly. All right, so you can go watch that trailer on your own, okay? See, if I stream it over here, okay, but you don't have, you know, hey, bear with me. I'm going to try something. Now, this won't make any sense to people that are listening to the podcast after the fact because they can't see what I'm doing. Just hold on for a minute. I'm going to see if I can open up audio on this machine. It's probably a stretch, but I'm going to try. Okay, we just broke out above the high on Friday, okay? The high Friday was 1614 and a quarter, and our swing high here, 1615 and a quarter. So we've taken it out by 1 point. Okay, let's switch this to wave. Now let's shrink that down. There's a chance you might actually, oh, but I'm going to have to put on the right headphones. Oh boy. Well, let me just try to straddle them. Let's see if it works. Now you guys got to type in the chat box and tell me if you actually hear the audio. Oh yeah, let's start over. You guys don't hear that audio? Really? How about now? You got audio now? Still no audio? Oh, you should have audio now. Huh. How about now? Still no audio? Well, that's weird. Oh, I know why. Silly me. Okay. All right, you got audio now?
Makes a tremendous amount of money creating these new types of products until it blows up the world.
Until we have regulators who really know what they're doing, chances are they'll do more harm.
It don't sound good. Oh, and there's an echo too. Nice. All right, we're done playing. Let me turn all this stuff off. Put it back so I can make my video. Close that. Shrink that. Okay. All right. I'm done playing around. This is serious business, right? Okay, so watch that on your own time, on your own bandwidth, on your own speakers. Is there any questions that I have not covered? I got to go. I got an appointment. Anybody have any questions about anything? Oh, back to what I started to tell you about earlier. Guys, the Bible study material, the training, the teaching. I mean, we've had really good stuff on CFRN for a long time, audio, but the video, the depth of this video library, I'm going to break it out. We have access to so much stuff that I got to figure out how we're going to break it out. It truly is. I don't know if you guys know who Andy Stanley is. He's really good. Obviously, I can't play it to you on this box unless I stream the audio. See, I've got audio and video broken up between computers. Let's just give you an idea. See, this is session 1. How many sessions are there? There's just this one teaching alone. There's 8 sessions, 40 minutes, 31, 40, 20, 20. Andy Stanley is a really good teacher. You may or may not agree with him theologically. I don't know. There's a lot of that going on these days. But you're going to have access. This is just good stuff. Really good stuff. Okay. All right, let me see if there's any questions. I don't see any questions, so all right, if you guys are going to let me run, I'm going to take you up on it. Let's go real quick. I'm still recording over here. Yes, okay. All right, this is the sentiment indicator. Talked about it quite a bit lately. Now, I'll be moving on to a different tool here in a few days. I'm not sure which one. If you have questions about the sentiment indicator, now's a really good time over the next couple days. Let me just scrunch it up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go piece by piece, day by day, because we've already done that. Go back to last Wednesday or Thursday's radio show video, last 45 minutes. I think on Wednesday and Thursday we covered it pretty good, in depth, okay? But literally, it allows you to come in, sit down at your computer anytime, and you know right where you are and what you want to be doing, okay? As soon as it goes blue, see, we're all the way back to February. This is February 27th. The sentiment is bullish, okay? Do you really want to do anything other than go long in this market? Here, we had a very brief, congratulations, Keith. Here, we had a gap lower open, okay? Price dropped a little bit. Now, when it pulled back here, okay, we never got anything to signal us to go short until here, okay? This candle right here is the very first one that gave us a signal to consider being short, okay? Sentiment indicator was still red. If you wanted to trade this as standalone, and again, why would you when you have all the other tools to confirm off of? Okay, but this gave up a short trade, not a huge one, but the close of that candle was 0675, and it dropped down to 0450. So a couple points, but again, we're only looking for a couple points a day. All right, right there's your trigger and your swing high. Now, there will be choppy periods. That's why I'm saying use the other tools that you have in your toolbox to confirm these setups, okay? This is just a guide, really. Once the indication is bullish, the sentiment is bullish, then look for the long trades because the wind is at your back, okay? Bullish, bullish, bullish. Here we get a little bit of a down trend, a deeper pullback in the markets. Remember, this is a day session only. It's blue, want to be long. Red, short. Blue, long. Red, short. Now, if you're a partner or on the free trial, you've got the tool. You put it on a 7-minute chart. That's part of the equation. This is your time filter, 7 minutes. Okay. And then the pieces just start to come together for you. Once you know that you want to be looking for a long trade, that takes like 50% of the noise off your plate. You focus on, okay, how am I going to get long? I mean, for days, look at this. Look at this stretch here. April 8th, April 9th, April 10th, the 11th. Wasn't until April 12th. Oh, and what a beauty that was. And it led to all of this. Okay. Now, what you got to do is you got to be able to think and act in multiple time frames, because in the live trading room, you've become accustomed to only risking 2 points per trade. You can still use the slingshot to come in and take your trade and to only risk 2 points. But because you're trading against a bigger picture backdrop, you got to do a little thinking, okay? This almost looks too good to be true, and it would be if you didn't have to think. But you still got to think, okay? You still got to engage and think. There's that mini flash crash that we had the other day. But see, it wasn't enough to change the sentiment. Sentiment continued to just do its thing. Okay. Now, in that video last night, I highlighted this major support area. If the market starts to break down, if we take out, here's the Globex open last night. Okay, let's get that on the chart. No, it's close enough. There we go. If we take out the Globex open, well, that's a long way. Couldn't there be a trade on the way down? Well, it could be if you want to trade counter trend. Here's another way to think about using this tool, okay? Know when you're in a counter trend position or in a counter trend trade, right? Sentiment is bullish. That doesn't mean you can't take a short trade, but to have the knowledge that you're taking a short trade when the sentiment is bullish, that's powerful information. Use that to your advantage. Now, if you connect these bottoms right across here on these candles, put this little trend line in, a break below that trend line could send you on a trajectory down to the most recent swing low right there. Below that, you're looking left at the open of Globex. And I think we can just take this out for right now. And approaching this major area of support, if you have chosen to get short here, here, or here, see, maybe you let price get to that area, okay, and then once price gets to that area, then you go to your slingshot, and you fine-tune your short entry. Like, see this long entry here? We didn't really have bullish divergence on that long. Yeah, some might consider that enough. I'd like a little more, but you can see how that was a nice little pop to the upside. But anyway, what I was saying is, if you decide that you're going to, once we break this trend line or break this swing low or this swing low, you know, once that happens over here, you're like, okay, I'm ready to look for a short trade. Bring out the slingshot, put on a short trade once all the criteria is met, and you only risk 2 points. Now, you're only risking 2 points, but your thinking is, especially if this right here, see, if this is taken out, this swing low, which is at 1606.5, okay, if that swing low is taken out, there's absolutely nothing to get in the way of this gap being filled. Now, I'm not quote-unquote a gap trader. I don't build strategies around trading or not trading the gap, but a lot of people do. And I'm not saying it's valid or not valid. I mean, we know just by looking at historical charts that a large percentage of the time gaps do get filled. You know, some would say almost always. That's true. There are some unfilled gaps sitting out there in the market, but by and large they do get filled. So once you break this swing low, if you can put a trade on that only requires you to risk 2 points. Now, let's say you're getting in. Let's say you're getting in as low as 1604, because even after you break this swing low, the slingshot has got to get itself positioned to give you that short trade. That positioning might cost you a couple points. Okay, no problem, because from 1604 to 1596, that's an 8-point run. And because you're using the slingshot to get into the trade, you're risking 2 for a shot at 8. Okay, does that make sense? You like that risk reward? Try that trade today. If it happens, if it comes together, a lot has to happen before you'd be able to take that trade. This trend line has to be broken and held. This swing low has to be broken and it has to hold. See, this trend line on a pullback is a good place for the market to bounce. This trend line, good place for the market to bounce. This horizontal line, these are horizontal lines, this horizontal line, a good place for the market to bounce. Okay? If we just want to look at this leg from Friday's low up to the current high, see, we're pressing all-time historic highs right now. A 38% retracement, look where it would line us up. It would line us right up against that horizontal line that we put in for last night's open. Okay? Is that a good place for the market to bounce? Yeah. So should you just put an order there to buy and then go golfing? Well, I mean, you could, but I'm not going to recommend that. My recommendation is let price come down here and then see what happens. If buyers come in and it starts to rally, jump on board. You only need it to move 2 points. That's all. Well, what if it can't make, what if I get in here and it can't take out a new high? So what? If you're getting in here at 1607 and the swing high is 1615, so what if it doesn't go all the way back to 1615? As long as it goes a couple points, that's a day's pay. And that's how you should approach each and every day. You know, I'm going out into the apple orchard not to cut down all the trees, but to get my apple for the day. And then I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, let me scroll up through here and see if there's any questions, and then I'm going to skedaddle. I'm not, Kevin. That's a proprietary indicator. Keith was just trying to help you. No, I was just teasing Keith. No, that's good. No, it's not an internet issue. It's a processor issue on this particular. It's one of those all-in-wonders. And the all-in-wonders that I was running it on, they're not known for their processing power. So I just need to switch it out with a different box. But thank you. I didn't mean to sound snarky when I said good for you. John G., you are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. Okay. All right, guys, I guess if that's it, that's it. No reason to. We don't have it. Do we have it? Yeah, I don't want to trade long against an all-time historic high. I don't doubt that there's potentially one coming together over here, but I'm going to pass. Dan, oh, that's a great question, Dan. Dan says, how long should we pay attention to last week's weekly trading zone? Well, Dan, weekly trading zones do have what I refer to as carryover effect, okay? But, and how long, you know, that varies from week to week. Michael and I, we used to chart them. We used to track them. We used to even keep the previous week's zones on a separate chart. But it reached a point where pretty soon we just had so many lines on the chart that it was overwhelming, and so we stopped. So to say, well, they're good through Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning, I can't. You'll be able to notice when they stop playing off of those levels and they gravitate to the new levels. And for those of you that are partners or on the free trial, you know that we just hit what? That's right. And so what do we expect here? Consolidation. And then what? A reaction. Consolidation, then a reaction. What would the reaction be? The reaction would be, now, and what I consider consolidation is at least an hour, 2 hours preferably, maybe 3, like a good 3-hour coil to work with. Once the market is able to digest all of the buy orders and all of the sell orders at that important area, then it has to make a decision. Will I continue now to the next zone overhead, or am I going to retreat to the previous zone, or the zone, since this is a Monday, it would just simply be the zone below. And the market will give you clues where it's headed, and it will often try to fake you out. In other words, it'll look like it's going to run up, but by the time that hour closes, all you're left with is a big old wick or a long tail sticking out over the top of the zone. And it's just obvious that it's now running in the other direction. Okay, if you're on the wrong side of that zone trade, number one, try to wait for that hourly close. But even still, sometimes you may get faked out. That's okay. If it becomes evident that's what's happened, you don't have to let it go to your hard stop. You can scratch out of the trade and get on the right side. Or you can just exit the trade, and go to the sidelines and wait for some additional confirmation. If it's breaking to the downside, 9 times out of 10, even when it's a zone-to-zone move, there are going to be pullbacks along the way, whether it's going up or going down. Just like this over here. See, as we went from this zone to this zone, we went up. Well, first we went up, and then we pulled back. How much did we pull back? Let's see. On this move here, from the swing low to the then swing high, we got a couple ticks away from a 38% retracement. Then we put in a new high, and then we pulled back. Hey, that was a very shallow retracement. Let's see just how shallow. This was the swing low, and that was the swing high. Okay, that one pulled back. That one actually pulled back. That was actually a 50% pullback. See, we have a much smaller leg. That was a 50% retracement. So we had, on this zone-to-zone move, okay, we had a move, a 38% retracement, another leg, a 50% retracement, and then it finally made the trip up to the zone. On the way back down, okay, it came from here. There's the swing low. Look where it popped back up to, 38%. We got a 38% retracement on that leg. And then on the next leg, we went a 50% retracement there. Okay, so as we move from zone to zone, see here, as we leave this zone and head up to the next zone, we get here and we pull back. From the swing low to the swing high, it made a 50% retracement right there. Now it's a little crowded and hard to see, but you can do this on your own charts, okay? Don't be afraid to bring these tools out and use them. That's what they're there for. And then as you can see here, another pullback. So as price is making its move from zone to zone, it's almost always going to pull back. So once it starts to break out to the upside and head to the next zone, now remember, this is last week's zone here, okay? In most cases, you'll get the initial move, you'll get at least one pullback and a continuation of the move. Sometimes you'll get 2 pullbacks and a continuation. You could get more, but you almost always get at least 1. So you don't have to be in the trade as soon as it leaves the zone. You can, okay, you can be. That's a whole strategy unto itself. Or you can wait for that pullback. Once it's kind of convinced you that it really is trying to get to the next zone, okay, all right, it's trying to get up to the next zone. The sentiment is bullish here. We just had a 50% retracement of the current leg. Boy, let me get my slingshot out and see if I can get a long trade where I only have to risk 2 points. That's using multiple time frames. So you ask a very simple question, Dan, how long should we pay attention to last week's weekly trading zone? And that was my answer. Until they're no longer relevant. That's not a flippant answer. That's just the truth. Until they obviously are now reacting off of the new zones, and usually that's on Monday. Often it's on Sunday night, but certainly by Monday afternoon. And I think that's what we're going to see right here, is we're going to find at least a short-term high in the market, and we're going to start doing some consolidating, okay? I mean, look at how many hours we consolidated at this zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 hours we consolidated in and around a 1-point range. Now, we're in a new week, we got new zones, and I'm ready to see some consolidation settle in. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat box right now, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'll leave the hourly chart running for you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.